David Lynch is an American filmmaker, visual artist, and all-around incredibly unique and strange man. David was born in Missoula, Montana. His father, Donald, was a research scientist working for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And as a result, they moved often. The Lynches lived in North Carolina, Idaho, and even Virginia. However, Lynch adjusted to his transitory early life with relative ease, noting that he usually had no issue making new friends whenever he started attending a new school. David became interested in painting and drawing from an early age and became intrigued by the idea of pursuing it as a career path when living in Virginia.
And Toby told me his father was a painter, and that, kind of realization that you could be a painter popped, blew all the wiring, and that's what I wanted to do from that second.
He attended several art colleges after high school, but left them all due to lack of inspiration. After a brief stint traveling, he decided to move to Philadelphia and enroll at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts to study painting. He preferred this college to his previous school in Boston, saying, "In Philadelphia there were great and serious painters, and everybody was inspiring one another, and it was a beautiful time there." David met his first wife, Peggy, while in art school, marrying in 1967. The following year, she gave birth to their daughter. Peggy describes David as a reluctant father, but a very loving one. David's young family moved to the crime-ridden neighborhood, Fairmont, and bought a house for $3,500. Lynch later said, "We lived cheap, but the city was full of fear." David's interest in painting started to diminish as he started to think about paintings that moved.
Looking at it, and from the painting, I heard a wind, and the green started moving. And I thought, oh, a moving painting, but with sound.
David purchased a $150 16mm camera and used an abandoned room in the academy to create his first film titled 6 Men Getting Sick, calling the film 57 Seconds of Growth and Fire and 3 seconds of vomit. Lynch played it on a loop at the Academy's annual end-of-year exhibit, where it shared joint first prize. This led to a commission from one of his fellow students, who offered him $1,000 to create a film installation for his home. For his second film, David experimented with animation and live action. His next production was titled The Alphabet. The film starred his wife, Peggy, as the female lead, who chants the alphabet. Learning about the newly founded American Film Institute, which gave grants to filmmakers who could support their application with a prior work and a script for a new project, Lynch decided to send them a copy of the alphabet along with a script he had written for a new short film that would be almost entirely live action. The grandmother. The Institute agreed to help finance the work, offering him $7,200. In 1971, Lynch moved with his wife and daughter to Los Angeles, where he began studying filmmaking at the AFI Conservatory, a place he later called completely chaotic and disorganized. David immediately started work on his next film, titled Garden Back, but ran into trouble with people interfering with his vision. David almost dropped out of the academy, but was led to reconsider by the school's dean. David's terms were he would stay only if he could create a project nobody would interfere with. The dean agreed, and David set out to create the strange masterpiece, Eraserhead. Filming began in May 29th, 1972, at night in some abandoned stables. The AFI gave Lynch $10,000 in grant money, but that was not enough to complete the film. Lynch was then supported by a loan from his father and money he had earned from a paper route that he took up. Not long into Eraserhead's production, Lynch and Peggy divorced and began living full-time on set. Eraserhead finished in 1976. Lynch tried to get it entered into the Cannes Film Festival, but while some reviewers liked it, others felt it was awful, and it was not selected for screening. The film was screened at the Los Angeles Film Festival, where Ben Barenhall heard about it. He was very supportive of the movie, helping to distribute it around the United States. Eraserhead subsequently became popular on the midnight movie underground circuit and was later called one of the most important midnight movies of the 1970s. After Eraserhead's success on the underground circuit, Stuart Kornfeld, an executive producer for Mel Brooks, saw it and later said, "I was just 100% blown away." Stewart helped David find a script that he could direct. He was initially presented with 4 scripts, but upon hearing the title alone, The Elephant Man became David's next studio-funded project. Filming took place in London. Though surrealic and in black and white, it has been called one of the most controversial of Lynch's films. The Elephant Man was a huge critical and commercial success, earning 8 Academy Award nominations, including Best Director and Best Adapted Screenplay. After Elephant Man's success, George Lucas, a fan of Eraserhead, offered Lynch the opportunity to direct the 3rd film in the Star Wars trilogy, Return of the Jedi. Lynch declined, saying that he had next door to 0 interest, and arguing that Lucas should direct the film himself, as the movie should reflect his own visions, not Lynch's. Soon after, the opportunity to direct another big-budget science fiction epic arose when Dino asked Lynch to create a film adaptation of Frank Herbert's science fiction novel, Dune. Lynch agreed, and in doing so was contractually obligated to produce 2 other works for the company. David created a script and even spent some time creating the sets. Lynch was unhappy with the work, later saying, "Dune was a kind of studio film. I didn't have final cut, and little by little, I was subconsciously making compromises." Much of his footage was eventually removed from the final theatrical cut, dramatically condensing the plot. Although Dino hoped it would be as successful as Star Wars, Dune was a critical and commercial dud. It had cost $45 million to make and grossed $27 million domestically. Lynch was contractually still obligated to produce 2 other projects for the company. The first, a planned sequel to Dune, which due to the film's failure never went beyond the script stage. The other was a more personal work based on a script Lynch had been working on, the film Blue Velvet. Lynch had found success with The Elephant Man, but Blue Velvet's controversy with audiences and critics introduced him into the mainstream, and it became a huge, critical, and moderate commercial success. The film earned Lynch his 2nd Academy Award nomination for Best Director. In the late 1980s, Lynch began to work in television. Around this time, he met the television producer Mark Frost. While talking in a coffee shop, Lynch and Frost had the idea of a corpse washing up onto Lakeshore and went to work on their 3rd project, initially called Northwest Passage, but eventually Twin Peaks. During season 1, Lynch directed 2 of the 7 episodes, devoting more time to his film Wild at Heart, but carefully chose the other episodes' directors. He also appeared in several episodes as FBI agent Gordon Cole. The series was a success, with high ratings in the United States and many other countries, and soon spawned a cult following. Soon, a 2nd season of 22 episodes went into production. But ABC executives believed that public interest in the show was decreasing and insisted that Lynch reveal Laura Palmer's killer's identity, which Lynch begrudgingly agreed to, in what Lynch has called one of his biggest professional regrets. After identifying the murderer and moving from Thursday to Saturday night, Twin Peaks continued for several more episodes, but was canceled after a ratings drop. After a few unsuccessful TV ventures, Lynch returned to film. In 1997, he released Lost Highway, which was co-written by Barry Gifford. The film failed commercially and received a mixed response from critics. In the early 2000s, Lynch approached ABC with the idea of a new television drama. The network gave Lynch the go-ahead to shoot a 2-hour pilot for the series Mulholland Drive. But disputes over content and running time led them to the project being shelved indefinitely. With $7 million from the French production company Studio Canal, Lynch completed the pilot as a film, Mulholland Drive. It performed relatively well at the box office worldwide and was a critical success, earning Lynch Best Director at the 2001 Cannes Film Festival. After spending the early 2000s creating his own website and producing his own content, it was believed that Lynch was going to retire from the film industry. But on October 6th, 2014, Lynch confirmed via Twitter that he and Frost would start shooting a new 9-episode season of Twin Peaks in 2015. Lynch announced via Twitter that the project was still alive, but he was no longer going to direct because the budget was too low for what he wanted to do. In May 2015, David said via Twitter that he would return to the revival, having sorted out his issue with Showtime. Filming was completed by April 2016. The 2-episode premiere aired on May 21st, 2017. While doing press for Twin Peaks, Lynch was again asked if he had retired from film and seemed to confirm that he had made his last feature film. Lynch did weather reports on his now defunct website in the 2000s. He has returned to doing weather reports from his apartment in Los Angeles, along with 2 new series, What is David Lynch Working On Today?, which details him making collages, and Today's Number Is, where each day he picks a random number from 1 to 10, using a jar containing 10 numbered ping pong balls. Throughout his life, Lynch has been the subject of numerous art exhibitions, including The Air is on Fire, 40 years of paintings, photographs, drawings, experimental films, and sound creations. And to this day, David continues to produce mixed media paintings that are, without a doubt, some of the most interesting pieces of art in existence.